Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Egwaldi Daniel Kikachuku. I'm a certified back-end developer passionate about software development. Here I will share insights, tutorials and tips to help you grow as a developer. If you are new, please make sure to subscribe. Welcome once again. In this class today, we'll be talking about the terminal, one of the most powerful tools for developers. Whether you are new to it or looking to sharpen your skill, this lesson will help you navigate the command line with confidence. Let's get started. So I've already opened my Git patch. The first thing I will do is to check the content of this directory where I am. Directory is the same thing as folder on your graphical user interface. The command to check the content of the directory is called lx, which stands for list content. lx. Now you can see how my directory is. As a developer, we need to save our work inside a document. So for me, I'll be saving my work inside my document. So let me create a folder called my software developer. Let me just think. Let's create a folder, a directory. So the command to create a directory is mkdir, which stands for make directory. It's just a short form. So the name that I will use is, let me call it API underscore development. Then I'll press enter. It has already been created because we don't have any error. Now let me check the content of this directory where I am, lx. Now where is the folder that I just created? See it here. Good, it has been created successfully. Now let's move into this directory that we've created. The command is cd, which stands for change directory. Then you type the name, make sure that the spelling is correct. API, capital letter, then underscore development. So if I mistakenly put X to it, let's see what it will tell us. Good. No such file or directory. That means we misspelled it, so there is nothing like that. The computer will check through all the documents and search for this name, and it cannot see any name that match it, so it will tell you, bring back an error. So let's go back and correct ourselves. Now we've seeded into it now. So inside this directory we've just created, let's create other directory inside it. And the sweet thing about the terminal is that you can create multiple directory with just one line of code. Let's do it now. mkr, good. Then let's call one model. The next one, let's call it services. Then the next one, controller. Then let's call the next one routes. Then you press enter. One thing, when you are creating your directory, ensure that there is a space in between. If there is no space in between, it may pick the two directory as just one. Now let's check the content of what we've created, the content of this directory we created, the API development, by checking using the command lx. You can see that we have 4 directories. Now let's create a file. Now to create a file, we use the command touch, then the name of the file. Let's call it user.model.js. Let's create multiple one. Another one, let's call it user.routes.js. Let's call this one to user.service.js. They are just random names I'm just giving. Then let's call on the next one user.controller.js. Notice that there's a space in between. Then you press enter. Now let's clear our screen. In order to clear our screen, what we'll just use is we'll use the command clear. The command clear is just to clear it so that we will have more space. It's not so that we are deleting it. We're not deleting anything here. We're just clearing so that we'll have more space for us to work. Clear. Good. Now let's check our content again. You can see that we have 4 directories and 4 files. The files are in white colors, while the directory are in blue color. Now let's copy. Now let's copy this file into the respective directory. How are we going to do this? Just watch. Let's move. Sorry, let's move it. Copy is another different command. We will talk about copy very shortly. So let's move. So in order to move, we'll first type the command mv, then the name of the file that we want to move. Let's move the user.model.js. We want to move it into the model. Then you press enter. Let's move controller.js. We have a word like this, controller.js, into controller. Again, you can see that I'm not typing this thing, I'm just pressing my arrow key up and down. It can bring back the previous things that the previous command that you've done before. So for this one, I will just user.service into, we are moving it into the service. Oof. There is a mistake. Cannot state good. Do you know why? There is nothing like this. It's meant to be user.service.js. You see that we made a mistake. The computer checked through and discovered that. Let's list our content again. lx. There is nothing like user.service. Is user.service.js. So that's what it brought out that error. So let's correct ourselves. .js. Then you press the word, press enter. Will we make mistake? Yes, we made a mistake again. Sorry, mind me. Don't mind me. I made a mistake. the is meant to be here dot jx. Now it works. Let's clear our screen. I love my screen being cleared. So let's list the content again. So remaining this file that we've not moved. So let's move it to also. Or should we leave it? Let's move it. Move user dot routes dot js. Let make sure we don't make the same mistake we did before. Into routes. Then we'll press the enter. Wow, I was saying that we should not make the mistake we made before, and we did it again. User dot routes dot js. Mind you, as a programmer, there sometimes we actually see bugs. Bugs are error, are code. We have operational errors, and we have the ones that we create ourselves by as like semicolon, like comma, writing some letters where they are not meant to be. As human, we are prone to that. But along the line, the terminal or the compiler actually tell us and shows us some of the mistakes that we make. So now the computer already told me, I've seen my mistake. So what was my mistake? My mistake was that it was no routes. It was routes. We called it routes. Look at it here. It was called route. There was no X there. But in this place, I mistakenly placed X. The X was just here for the route. So you press enter. As a programmer, it is not a sin to make a mistake. It occurs. It's just like that. We are human beings. We make mistake. Now let's check our content again. LX. Good. Now let's move into this controller. CD into controller. You CD into it. Then let's check the content of the controller. LX. Good. We can see that if we check for everyone, we'll discover that there is something there. That means contain something. That's for it. So now let's create another file inside this controller. Let me call it. Remember, the command to create file is this. Touch is the command. Touch. Let me put tor dot controller. I've created this. Then check the content. There will be two files here. I can actually still create a directory here. Let me create a directory. Make directory. Then let me call it what should I call the directory? Let me just call it tor. Good. Tor directory LX. Now let's copy. Now we are not moving. Now let's copy these two files into this. So how are we going to use? There's a command called cp. Cp means to copy. Then we'll call the name of the files. Remember, the Git batch provide us with color so that we can actually see that, oh, the white signify that this is actually a file, while the blue signify that it's actually a directory. The color pattern is very, very good, so it can enable us to easily differentiate them. Then we are copying this into tor. Remember, we are not moving it. We are just making a copy, like the normal way of making copy. Then you press enter. Now let's cd into this tor to check the content. Cd into tor. Tor. Then check the content LX. You can see that what we copy is there. Then let's go back. To go back to our controller, our parent. So this is actually the child. See the relationship. This is the child. This is the parent. This is the parent of this parent. You can see the relationship. So now let's go back to our parent, the controller. We'll use the command cd slash dot dot. Then you press enter. You move one step backward. So we've already moved a step backward into our controller. Now let's clear our screen. Now let's check the content. Good. We have this content now. Do you know what I want to do? Now let's delete. Let's delete a file. How do we delete a file? We use the command rm, then the name of the file. You can delete multiple files with this line of code. Or you don't need to delete it one by one. Like the graphical user interface, they have to click this one, except when they're, so you can see just controller, then user dot controller dot js, then you press your enter. We've deleted it successfully. Assume it was not deleted, our screen will have been, you'll have seen bash and telling you that this thing cannot be deleted and thereabouts. So let's check the content. You can see that we know we don't longer have it as it was here. It has been deleted. Now let's cd into this again, into this Tor. You cd into this Tor. Let's check the content of the Tor again. You see that this 4 file that we added, that we deleted, is here because we already copied it before we delete it. Now let's delete this one also. Let's go back to our, I'm using my arrow to go back to the previous code I wrote, so let me delete it from here. Good. Let's check the content again. You can see that it has been deleted. There is nothing. It's not an empty, it's not an empty directory containing nothing. Now let's cd back into our parent again, the parent of the Tor, which is the controller. Good. So after cding back now, let's delete this Tor. Can we delete the Tor? Yes, let's delete it. To delete the Tor, it is not rm. It is another command. I will show you later. So let's just try rm, because I said rm is only to delete a file, not a directory. Let's test it out. You see what it shows. You see, cannot remove Tor because Tor is a directory. In order for us to delete a directory, we must use this command rmdir, then the name of the directory. You can only delete from the parent. A parent can only delete the child. The child cannot delete himself. That's why we have to go back to the parent. Hope people are getting me right. A parent can only terminate his child. Let me say, if I'm permitted to use that word, the child cannot terminate himself because he has a root somewhere. It's from the root you can cut down a tree. So Tor, then poof. Let's check the contents. Nothing. So it's already empty. So in the course of this lesson, we've learned the basic. Okay, I've not showed you one. There's a command called pwd. It is just to print the working directory. The working directory, then you press enter. This is actually the working directory where we are. That's just it. This just, you can see how my explanation makes it very, very easy for you to use the terminal. Simple coding. There's nothing too special, too ambiguous about the terminal. You can just practice and try many things Thank you for staying for thank you for your time following me through all these many code I've written and the small error that we did together. So as a programmer, you are bound to make error. In fact, making error is inevitable. Everybody makes error. So like I said, the terminal is the foundation to everything. It's very, very important. You must know how to use the terminal because it's not everything that you have to be clicking. Sometimes when you be installing packages, because of this lecture, we'll be building websites, both the front end and the back end, using different. We use HTML, we use CSS, we use JavaScript. We may even use React, and we use for our backend we use Node.js. So this is just the beginning. Just the terminal. Knowing the terminal, knowing how to use the terminal is very, very important as a developer. So thank you for your time. Please, if you are new to this channel, please endeavor to subscribe. Thank you. Have a blessed day.